The last 3 decades, the change has been phenomenal in China. So we've put a lot of effort into building up our relationships in that market. It's been extremely disappointing to see it suddenly go from one of our most exciting markets and the growth for all Australian wine to really evaporate overnight.
Two years on, winemaker Mitchell Taylor is still counting the cost of Chinese tariffs, which tripled the price of popular Australian imports.
So I think it is the Chinese consumer and Australian winemakers that suffer from these putative tariffs that just came overnight of 218%, which has basically stopped all the exports into this great market.
Imposed after the Morrison government publicly called for an inquiry into the origins of the COVID virus, China's massive tariff hike on wine and other Australian imports has put the local business community on notice that its most lucrative export market could evaporate overnight.
It is with great regret that in trading issues that we get caught in the crossfire.
10 years ago, China was the El Dorado for Australian business. China is one of our 2 biggest trading partners. Business thrives on certainty, and with China, there is no certainty at the moment.
For 3 decades, Australia's trade with China boomed, becoming our biggest customer for commodities like coal, iron ore and grain, to services such as education.
There was huge hope for the China relationship. It was where a lot of eggs got put into the basket, but it's now turned sour, quite frankly.
Risks of potential conflict in the region have risen after China mounted unprecedented military exercises around Taiwan, blocking major shipping lanes in the wake of US Speaker Nancy Pelosi's recent visit to Taipei.
The Chinese reaction, visceral as it was, has made a lot in business sit up and think, well, what could happen? It has really amped up the risk factor. We are perhaps the most exposed country of all, given our trading relationship.
COVID lockdowns exposed just how reliant Australia's university sector is on foreign students, especially those from China.
Roughly 15% of my budget at this university comes from Chinese students.
Australia's higher education sector is trying to diversify, ever aware Beijing could simply stop its students coming, or worse, deny recognition of qualifications from Australian universities.
It would be hard on us because, of course, there are so many students here. I think it would be even harder on China because you have a bunch of dislocated students who are going to be extremely unhappy, and these are, from the elite people through China. So it would be a huge shock on that side. So I'm pretty bullish that we're going to continue to have students, certainly in the short term.
Morning, how are you?
While some Australian exporters have been hit by punitive tariffs, others are still booming.
Through some of the incredibly restrictive periods, demand for our product increased.
Have you had any pushback because you're an Australian company?
We haven't, no. In fact, quite the opposite. We continue to be held in very high regard.
Morning, boys, how are we? Morning.
Tony Pearson is the CEO of mattress maker Beard, which sells mattresses in stores across China.
We work with a partner. Our partner is Shanghai Green, and Shanghai Green currently have 48 Beard branded stores across China.
That's massive.
It is, yeah, it is.
Despite his company's continuing success, he remains wary that China's all-powerful Communist Party could take other economic measures affecting businesses like his.
There has not been the level of risk that we're currently observing. We're at a tipping point.
And it's not just you, but it's a lot of other Australian business leaders.
A number of other Australian business leaders, I think, are waiting for the outcome of that party meeting.
Not every business wants to walk away from China, and Australia does want to have strong economic relationship with China, but the geopolitical overlay is making that increasingly difficult.